So what we're doing a bit of a change. We're now into a statistical topic. Okay. What we do need to talk about before we talk about how data is displayed, we need to talk about data types. Okay. Understanding the different types of data and how they're displayed. Right. So let's just check whether you understand the difference between continuous data or discrete data. Right? Because especially with histograms, they get displayed in different ways. Right? Now, does anyone think they know?
Continuous. As in, like,
And there's an infinite for continuous.
amount of values. Yeah.
Continuous is not a number.
Okay, right. That infinite number of values. Is what-
Between
Is this discrete categories or no?
discrete, we could do
can't be infinite between.
categorical. Go with that.
It could be between one and anything.
How many numbers are there between 1 and 2?
Infinite.
Infinite.
Because it could be 1.1.
So, a nice way to think of it is continuous data is measured. Right? Discrete data tends to be counted. Right? So, for instance, someone's height. I would measure someone's height. Therefore, heights are continuous data. And like you said, there is an infinite number of heights that someone could be. It just depends how accurate I can measure that too. Yeah? Whereas, if I was to count the number of red cars, green cars, pink cars outside, well, I've got to count 1, 2, 8. You know, that's it. All right.
1 to 8.
There's nothing in between. All right. Also, there's stuff about putting things in order. So if I were to display the colour of cars in a car park in a bar chart, which colour gets written first?
Red.
Why? Doesn't matter. Right? All I want to look at is the tallest bar, yeah? Or the smallest bar. If I'm trying to sell cars and I want to know which colour's the most popular, I just look at the tallest bar. It doesn't matter where it comes. I can put red first, last, middle, whatever. If it's the tallest bar, it's the tallest bar. However, if I'm measuring height, I would start at the beginning of my bar chart with the smallest people, yeah? And then it would maybe go up, and you know, kind of we're counting how many people are within a certain height range. Yeah. So there's a difference between measured data, counted data, that kind of thing. Right. So categorical. When I say categorical, because I think, as Leah said, it's about they are in categories: red, green, colours, that kind of thing. So those two data types are displayed differently. Right. Let's also talk, see whether you remember, about the averages. The events. Yeah.
What about the averages?
Well, what do you know? What can you tell? What are they? Okay. Why are there the averages?
Because there's a lot
more
of
than one average.
What are they?
medium.
Yeah.
I said that.
Mean, median, mode.
Isn't there another one? What is range?
Yeah.
What is that?
Right, girls.
I think range.
Because we learned them all now.
Good question's been asked. What's the range? Is the range an average?
No.
No. The range is not an average. It is what we would call a measure of Okay, we could say dispersion if we wanted to use the fancy word, or spread if we're not. So how far things are spread out. Because that does affect things. Because when we've talked averages in the past, right? Have this you've stopped asking. I guess I don't give you enough tests, which is good. A student, let's say my year 9s, they always say, but what was the average score? Actually, year 7s last year, what's the average test score? So I say, why do you want to know?
Because it makes the people who do lower feel bad.
No.
That's why you want to know, is
Because
it?
if you
No,
get the
that's why you
average,
don't know. The average
then
is
it's kind of
A.
like you know where
Where everybody
it's like
sits
a round.
But why are you
Right,
comparing
okay.
yourself to others?
Yeah, right, that's my response. Why
It's not
why
that,
are
it's
you
just the
comparing
class
yourself to other people?
I never asked you the average.
Because to see how you
I like to know
Like,
if
my also,
it's like a
here's my
star.
question to you.
Just to know that you're on track.
The average, let's say I'm doing the mean. Do you remember how to calculate the mean?
Yes.
How?
Yep. You add all of them together and then divide by the numbers that you
Right.
added together.
What happens if I work out the average test score and one of you does horrendously badly?
Brings everything down.
Brings the average down. Okay? Now what if that person did horrendously badly because they ate a dodgy burger the night before? They were really ill. It's got nothing to do with their knowledge. They just weren't feeling it.
They're
They're
having a bad, or they broke the.
having a bad day. So, as did happen in IB
It's an
once,
anomaly.
the girl on the way to a test crashed her scooter and was badly bruised. She still came and did the test. Didn't do very well. But let me say so that for her was bad. But what's it mean for everyone else? Well, her bad score meant that the average dropped.
Right.
Now that means your test score may be above the average.
But the average is incorrect.
Well, the average isn't incorrect.
It's
The average is not
Accurate.
what we would
Accurate.
call. Right, we've got to be very careful. This is really good talk because IBs, they're doing IAs and things, and they use words like accuracy and correct and things incorrectly. So, accuracy has got nothing to do with whether it's correct or not. Accuracy is how close to the actual answer it is. So, if you've worked out the mean and you round your answer to 1 decimal place when it was 5 decimal places, you've reduced the accuracy. It's still correct, right? Accuracy has got nothing to do with right or wrong, right? Your mean has been affected. It's not incorrect. It just has been affected. You've done everything correct. So again, it's nothing to do with being correct or incorrect. It's nothing to do with being accurate or not accurate. It's actually got to do with validity. How valid is your average? There's the word. That's what you need to start getting into your maths understanding and maths vocabulary. How valid is my conclusion based on this average? And that's what I want you to think about with this, comparing yourself to an average test score. How valid a statement is it that you're doing really well because you're above the average? Right? Because I might point out, right, yeah, you're above the average, yeah, well done. Don't need to do any work now. Oh, hang on, that girl broke her leg and was half conscious when she did her test, and so I'm going to remove her test score out of it because it's just not fair. Your test score is now below the average. So suddenly, without doing a thing, without changing your result in any way, you've gone from being good to being bad because you're now below the average. How useful is that?
Not very useful.
It's not, is it? So what we really do is when you compare to the average, that's what people want to do. They want to compare against everyone else. They want to say, well, I'm above average, that's great.
But like, our economics classes average was like 5 out of 20. 23.
Yeah?
Yeah, 23.
Now, what I would
Like,
say,
across all boards.
what I would say is this. I don't think necessarily an average is great. I might look at an average, but I tell you what I do with tests now. I don't know whether I can see it actually.
It was like 4 out of 20.
Oh, no.
This is not you, by the way.
It's
All right.
It's
Ah,
It's
Right
so low.
now, this is not even with any results in. What I've we're doing now is I've got every single question and I will record every single person's score. So what I actually want to know is where are most mistakes being happened. So it's kind of like an average. And I can go, I need to sort that problem out.
It's all real.
Right? Yes, because I've not entered anything. They've not done it. They do it next week.
I thought they all did
Yeah.
that. Can we see one of ours?
That's your number.
No, because I started this year. We haven't really. I've done one with you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did actually.
I remember
Right,
seeing that.
hang on a minute.